That tree has never ever looked as full. That's like the fullest tree I've ever seen. So I have been trimming this crabapple. These two that I removed, I would not have removed if they were not, as you can tell, in terrible shape. Actually, they were old stubs. This one was on like that, and it just made the tree look weird, to be honest. But got the first one done. A branch I would have liked to remove that I was just thinking about right here is this one. As you can see, it kind of interacts with the branch just above it that's bigger, but I think this tree's got some bark issues, so I'm gonna leave it be. Okay, so these trees, these three, I'm going to trim next. This one has got some water sprouts down here. It's not too bad. As you can tell, it's a beautiful tree. If you get up close though, you can tell right here, it had a tear out or something right here. And then there's also a water sprout that will eventually intersect with branches up there, so it's gonna get removed. I think this also has some bark issues. I think it could need some fungicide, I think is how you say it. But yeah, it's a pretty nice tree. Moving on. This one, I haven't really had a big look at it yet. It's by far a really beautiful tree though. Right here it was previously pruned, and as you can tell, it's growing over that. It is a bit of a stub up top, and here it's growing. This is a pretty big stub too. Obviously while I'm trimming it, I'm gonna take my time and take some big looks at it to make sure I'm doing the right thing to it and not hurting the tree more than I'm helping it. So that's this one, I think. I gotta take into account the previous pruning. Like here, that's an awkward stub and that's dying. And clear out some bark, and that shows that it's a good union right there. Splits there and there. And when you move on to this tree, this is probably the most beautiful tree of all of them. And it looks like it might have some bark issues running along there. I might be wrong though, so don't take my word for it. Right here, this sprout is twisted. It's dead. I'm gonna leave that be. That might have been some damage I did a couple years ago while I was still in like 7th or 8th grade and kind of stupid. Here, as you can tell, it had a wound right there a long time ago. Maybe not too long ago, but it did have a wound there. But it's kind of like really flat right here. It's actually pretty neat. Haven't really seen that before. Getting up, it is by far the widest spreading of these all. So I don't think there's too much I can do down here except removing water sprouts and such. Might need to get a ladder. Of course, ladder work is dangerous, so you gotta keep in mind not remove too big of a branch. There's a callus, I think is the right word. But this tree is probably the best of them all. I mean, it has some previous pruning damage that looks about like a flush cut, as you can see. And this is a bit of a stub, but I don't know how far it is growing over yet, so I think I might just reduce it down if possible. and remove these water sprouts around here and the downward branches. And just keep in mind to take a step back and look at the tree. So that's it for now. I will get back once I'm finished. Okay, so it's the next day. I'm back out trimming again these trees that are just in front of the building. It's raining, but I'm still not gonna rush this. Anyway, I'm gonna do the best I can, and yeah, so it's a little chilly though, but I don't want to rush this, so yep. Alright, these are the crabapples I pruned back in March. This is last video I need to film for it. This one was looking very rough, and I think you can see it's got really nice shade. Like, I'm standing in full shade right now. Like, this is the fullest I've ever seen this tree in recent years. And that's it died or something and they cut it down. But here, this tree is looking pretty good. There is that gap from the rotten branch I removed. Right here, you can clearly see the rot. But you can see the active tissue is moving in. It's right there. So, this is the water sprout I decided to keep. And I bent it a little to come out this way. So hopefully it starts going up and filling in this gap from that branch. And yes, it's been weed whacked or something many times, so it's gotten... I'm the weed whacker for here, so I'm trying not to hit the trees anymore. Looks like they have previous damage, though, so I'm just doing my best. And here, this crabapple is actually doing really well, too. Like, I think it's kind of hard to see where I made cuts, to be honest. And here, that's one area that I did trim. And I think that's cottonwood stuff in there. And I kind of broke this area a bit. But you can see the active tissue is starting to grow. Yeah, these are doing really well. That one I barely did anything to. I did remove a couple branches just to thin it out a little bit to help newer growth to form. Like, I did trim here. And yeah, I didn't do too much. And yes, I was kind of worried I broke the branch bark ridge. I did not. That one was a good cut. I'm trying to find out where else I may have trimmed. Yeah, I don't see too much. I know right here I cleaned up a stub, and you can see the active tissue coming over now. And here I just let it be. That was a previous cut that I don't want to disturb. There's some water sprouts coming in the middle. I mean, you can see how thick and lush this foliage is, though. It's hard to tell exactly where I trimmed. That's an old cut from like a couple years ago that I did not make. And here is where I think I made a heading cut, maybe. Or maybe this is an old cut that I couldn't clean up, but yeah. It's so full and green that I can't find most of these end cuts that had been made that I had to clean up. Like here, I had to clean up. But yeah, it's just so lush and full and green. Oh, there could be fire blight in it maybe, though. I don't know. That's just that little area, though. I don't really know too much about these diseases. It could be like cedar apple rust or something. I don't know too much about these tree diseases, but yeah, they're super full and green, and that tree has never ever looked as full. That's like the fullest tree I've ever seen. It's beautiful. And I'm probably gonna go film in another area for the other crabapples I pruned, so yeah. These are the crabapples that I pruned on that really cold, rainy, windy day. That wind was very bad. It was really, really cold because of the wind. And yeah, so I'm just gonna show the trees how they're doing. These trees are really full. We've even had hail since I pruned them, and they're still doing really well. I mean, this here was a mistake that I made. I don't like to admit it, but I'm gonna admit it. I made some mistakes while pruning this tree, but as you can see, it is starting to grow over the wound. You can even see that's quite a bit of tissue for the first year growth. Even here, you can see that tissue is coming in really well. Like, especially on the top. I may have missed the collar on the bottom, but I can still see the cambium tissue rolling in. Now, I might see a lot of this kind of pruning rolling in on where I pruned, because I used like probably not the right kind of pruners. Like, this happened a lot, which it's all right. Well, I don't know if it's all right or not, but this is a bit of dead wood I should have gotten. But I'm just gonna show you. I pruned here, obviously. Now, right here was a very odd zone. I don't know. This was such a weird area because this limb came here. It went through here, wrapped around here, and was rubbing here. And it was just like that for years. And that was not good. So I come to find out it's merging here. So I had to make a cut. Not preferable, but I even nicked there, but I don't like to admit it. That was a bad decision, but there was no way around it. Not to my knowing, at least. And I made a cut. Where was it? It was on this limb here, a reduction cut, because this was coming out and crossing here too. Yeah. Made quite a couple of reductions, which is good because that's what you're apparently supposed to do. Now I'm going to go over to the other tree, and man, there's these droopy water sprouts kind of all over. I found out crabapples love to water sprout if you prune them. And this, look at that. That doesn't look like crabapple, but it's coming from the crabapple. Now right there was a limb I removed because it was left as a stub. And there are tons of sprouts coming out, so I probably should have just made a reduction on it, as evident from all the sprouts all over it. Which, actually, I'm just gonna show you. This sprout right there, when I pruned at the time of pruning, looked like one of these. So I tried to leave some of these, but I also removed a lot of them, which is fine. And yeah, I'm gonna bring you around here. These can, in fact, sprout out, which is very fascinating to me. And right here was a limb. I kind of didn't want to remove it because that would, to my idea, it would have lion-tailed the tree. But it came out here and I made a mess over here. I think these trees are looking very, very good now. Yeah, I'm gonna move on to this tree. So this tree had a limb here in this crotch area, and I removed it, and it was just a jumble. And then up there was a limb, and I kind of got the bark. It was so cold, I kind of didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't the best day to prune. I could have made a lot fewer accidents if I chose a better day, but overall, I don't think I messed up the trees really bad. Like, I could have done way worse. I I'm just happy with how they're doing. They're looking way fuller and greener than I think they would have. And some kids were, the other day at VBS here, they were climbing the trees, and I did not appreciate that. I mean, there's something they said was up here, and I couldn't find it, so I just told them to come down. Like, I don't know. Anyway, a bird's nest has been made in it since then, which has been less than a week. So, birds are actually using them. And yeah, these trees are looking very good. There was one limb over here that I made a hefty reduction. If I'm looking for, oh, it's right here. Yeah, right here was the area of reduction, because this was left as a stub and it went out to here, and I kind of thought it didn't look very pretty, so I made a big reduction on it, and I made a reduction on this sprout too, to hopefully encourage it to fill in this kind of gap area, and I left this sprout on it too to also help fill that in. So it's doing its job. You can see how full and green they look. And this is the last bit of video I need, and I think what this is here is cedar apple rust, because there's cedar over there, here, and there. So it would make sense. I need to find out what treatment I can do. And I don't think these that I thought were bark diseases, I think that's just growth of the crabapple. It cracks slightly when it grows. It's developing its older bark. And yeah, I'm gonna get a shot from over here. These are the Boxelders and cottonwoods and stuff that I pruned over there. I already made a video on that though. It was back in like April. But yeah, these trees are looking really full and beautiful, so yep.